Kevin Feige might be sitting there saying, hey James, keep my number. I might want, need somewhere to go at some point. Kevin Feige, he's the Kevin Feige of Marvel. He is wishing James Gunn well in his future endeavors, which I didn't really expect him to be like, fuck that guy. But, he's apparently, at least what he's letting us know, wishing us well. He did have some comments that I thought were interesting. He said, Feige wished Gunn well in his new job. In his words, I speak to James almost every day, said Feige. We have a wonderful thing called the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special coming out. We have a wonderful thing called Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 coming out in May. How he'll have any time to work on DC until May, I don't know. But once he does have time, I'll be very excited. I'll be first in line. That's cool. That's professional, and that's good to hear him say.
Yeah.
Gunn returns to DC to basically be their versions of Kevin Feige. Does this mean Gunn and Feige will become rivals? That is unlikely, as both men have long insisted that there's no competition between Marvel Studios and DC Films. Okay, that's horseshit. I mean, it's horseshit in the way that you're going to say that DC and Marvel, yeah, they're not rivals at all. They're definitely rivals. Now, they do say no competition. I will say at this point in time, I wouldn't say no competition, but yeah, probably Marvel versus DC. Yeah, Marvel's beating that ass. It just is what it is as far as the cinematic universes go. However, now that James Gunn, they've got somebody over there who does care about the properties. Somebody who's going to take care of what's going on over there and have a singular vision for it all. I do wonder if that could change, if that dynamic could change. Right now, yeah, there's no competition. But maybe in 5, 6, 7, 8 years, DC could, especially if Marvel keeps going the way they're going, in my opinion, and a lot of people's opinion, I think. I do wonder if we could be in a very different landscape come 2027 or 8. Maybe DC will be the big dick in town. Or I don't think Marvel's going to go away that quick or anything. But I do wonder where we'll be in a few years, because we're not going to see any fruits of this labor of James Gunn coming in. He doesn't take over until November 1st, which is a few days. We're not going to really see those fruits for at least a couple of years. That's when the stuff will start rolling out. Do you think that with him in charge, and it's him and I can't remember the other guy's name, honestly. It's 2 guys in charge, but a singular vision, if you will, that DC could actually come up and start to actually rival Marvel?
I mean, as we've seen,
realistically, how about that? Anything's possible, realistically.
Yeah, no, seriously. Like, think about the 2 things that James Gunn has done for DC. They're considered like 2 of the best properties for DC. The problem here is, I think DC will be much better handled. I hope so, but I mean, anything's possible. I mean, it could be a shit show for all we know. But I think it's funny when people like the people in the creator space and the VP and the executive space. They don't give a shit about what they're rivals, of course. But Kevin Feige knows that like he has a friend in James Gunn. So if Kevin Feige decides to quit, he can go over and work for fucking DC for all he cares. It's just I like how people. Yeah, I like how I like how people are like they these like super fans are like, oh my god, James Gunn's going over to DC. Kevin Feige's gonna be so pissed. Kevin Feige's like he's a guy there to make money. He don't give a shit. He's actually apparently a huge DC fan as well. He's there to make money. He's a fan of comic books. He knows that he loves Batman, Superman. He's happy because James Gunn went from doing trauma films to being the head of fucking DC now. So it's like, they don't care. But do I think DC can do something? Of course, yeah. Anything's possible in this day and age.
Now, James. I truly don't think that Kevin Feige is upset about James Gunn taking over at DC. In fact, I mean, if you believe some of the rumors, and it's not a ton of them, but some rumors saying Feige's unhappy or overworked and possibly unhappy with the state of things, and just the actual state of things. I mean, Kevin Feige might be sitting there saying, hey James, keep my number. I might want need somewhere to go at some point. But I don't think he's upset. I do think DC, not DC, Disney is. I think Disney's absolutely upset because James Gunn has made. He's made now 4 things, 2 of which we haven't seen yet. But he made Guardians and Guardians 2, both of which were very well received. Especially Guardians of the Galaxy. Nobody thought that was going to be good. They're like, Guardians of what?
Yeah, that's what I said. I love.
Here's
what happened. Well, no, I remember when they announced all these all these like Phase 2 or Phase 3 or whatever Guardians came out. I'm like, what the fuck is Guardians of the Galaxy? And then I heard James Gunn was doing it. I'm like, holy shit, I want to see this movie now. I had no idea what the fuck Guardians of the Galaxy was.
That's why I wanted to see it.
Yeah, there was like a tree and a raccoon. I'm like, what the fuck? Yeah. Now we have fucking whatever we have. It's like, I don't know.
We're like, is this a joke? But it wasn't. I mean, he did a really good job with it. And the second one, I think some people had a few complaints about it, but it still did well. I enjoyed the second one. The third one's, I assume, going to be good. And then he's got this holiday special. So yeah, I think Disney. I think there was at least a part of James Gunn. It was probably still a little bit sour about how Disney treated him over some tweets he made over a decade earlier. That honestly, well, yeah, they may have been in bad taste. They weren't that bad. I mean, I've seen much worse things on Twitter. But, yeah, so maybe that, he was like, Disney might not have my back. They do today, because I'm making them a little bit of cheddar right here at this moment, and people are on my side. But who's to say if
Bob Chapek don't give a shit about anyone.
No, but he's probably like, I went to DC, and they were cool. They let me do whatever the hell I wanted. So... That probably was part of it, and Disney probably is like, motherfucker, fuck you, DC. But yeah, I think I think it's cool that Feige is at least keep saving face there and being cool about it and having that professional courtesy, telling his friend good luck in your endeavors and all that. I do think though, I think it is a possibility. If you had asked me a few years back, I would have been like, I hope so, because I think DC has a better stable of characters, especially villains. I think their characters seem a little bit more original overall, and especially the ones we've gotten in the cinematic era. I know a lot of people don't want to hear that. The fact of the matter is, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, The Flash, these are DC characters.
Yeah.
That's...
The only thing I have problems with, like, Superman is it doesn't feel like he has... They had to invent kryptonite for him to have no OP, so it always felt like a little weird to me. That's why I was never more of a Superman, but I've always loved Batman because he felt more realistic.
Yeah, he's one of the most. Batman is one of the most famous. Well, I would say he's got to be one of the top 5 famous characters, comic book characters on Earth. Probably in the top 3. So, DC is the one who knows the Joker, the Penguin, these villains, besides the ones that have shown up in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Did a lot of people know, did the greater mass know who Thanos was prior to the MCU?
Nobody knew who fucking Iron Man was,
let
alone Thanos.
I was aware of Iron Man, but I didn't really know anything about him. He was a B-level character.
My friend who I'm still good friends with was a huge Iron Man fan. That's the only reason I knew of Iron Man. Otherwise... I'm a huge Wolverine fan, but I didn't know these B-tier characters. I didn't know Thor was a character. I didn't know. I knew Captain America was a character, but these characters, you have no idea who they are.
There was a reason that Spider-Man, X-Men, things like that were bought by other companies from Marvel for cinematic reasons, and years ago, and Iron Man, Thor, and Captain America were not. Now they did great things with them. They came in and they made movies that defied logic. It shouldn't have been good, but they did great things with their cinematic universe. But I'm just wondering, is this the beginning of DC doing great things with theirs? Because they've had a rough run of it. They've had some great DC movies, but man, their cinematic universe has just not been able to come together.
Well, no, to be absolutely honest, look at it. We had Joker, we had Suicide Squad, we had Harley Quinn, we had Peacemaker. Tell me 4 of Phase... Yeah, exactly. Tell me 4 Phase 4 Marvel shows or movies that have been excellent.
And you know who's in charge of a few of those? James Gunn. Exactly. I think he was the right guy. I never saw it coming. I think he was the right guy to put in charge. I'm really curious to see what this is going to do with them, which we're going to talk more about that in a minute. But I think that we could see a big change in DC, the DC Marvel dynamic, because it's always been, since this whole universe, expanded universe comic book movie thing started, it's always been Marvel's just been on top, and DC's been like all over the place. I think that honing all that in, I think we could actually be getting some really cool movies. I just hope they don't become Marvel. I don't want them to become Marvel movies. That's not what I'm after. But what do you guys think out there? Do you think that DC has a chance to kick a legitimate chance to kick Marvel in the pants? Do you think that Kevin Feige just wants James Gunn to, you know, keep his number in his phone just in case he might want to jump ship at some point? And just overall, what do you think about the state of DC and all that? Let us know in the comments below.